Did America unknowingly leave its own troops exposed and vulnerable inside the backyard of one of its closest Gulf allies? Watch as a U.S. Patriot missile appears to turn into a deadly danger for American troops instead of protecting them from incoming threats. Iran sets the Gulf ablaze with relentless retaliatory strikes, even as Donald Trump warns of an even more massive military response. Bahrain, Kuwait and Jordan find themselves under relentless fire as no major American military base escapes Iran's expanding missile campaign. A shocking video has surfaced claiming to show how the United States strikes on Iran may have disastrously backfired on its own military personnel. The footage allegedly shows an American Patriot missile striking its own military installation in Bahrain instead of intercepting an incoming threat. The Patriot missile appears to attempt a sharp mid-air U-turn before reportedly crashing into the U.S. naval headquarters captured in the footage. The U.S. Naval Support Activity Base in Bahrain serves as a crucial logistics hub supporting American Central Command operations across the Gulf region. However, neither the Bahraini government nor the United States has officially confirmed the alleged friendly fire missile incident shown in the circulating video. The footage emerged as powerful explosions reportedly rocked the American-operated Al Jafer military base located in Bahrain during heightened regional tensions. On July 24, Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps launched a fresh round of strikes targeting American military bases in both Kuwait and Bahrain. Iran said the attacks formed the 27th wave of its ongoing Operation Nasr II, directed against U.S. military positions across Kuwait and Bahrain. Iran further claimed it specifically targeted a data center in Bahrain allegedly linked to American technology giant Amazon during the latest strikes. So far, neither Amazon nor the Bahraini authorities have issued any official response regarding Iran's claims about the alleged attack. Iran also reportedly deployed advanced heavy attack drones against an American-operated military base located inside neighboring Kuwait during the latest operation. Iran warned civilians living near American military installations to move at least 500 meters away, according to a report carried by Press TV. The IRGC's latest retaliation came even as the United States carried out its 13th consecutive night of military strikes against targets inside Iran. According to a Wall Street Journal report published on July 24, both Bahrain and Kuwait secretly struck Iranian sites back in early July. These strikes specifically targeted drone and missile storage depots inside Iran, marking the very first direct retaliation these two nations had ever carried out against Tehran. The Wall Street Journal reported that both Kuwait and Bahrain relied on their relatively small air forces, equipped primarily with Western-made fighter jets, to carry out these operations. Interestingly, the report revealed that the UAE played a supporting role behind the scenes, providing both target intelligence and defensive air cover for the operation. It's worth remembering that the UAE had already carried out dozens of its own airstrikes against Iran earlier in this conflict, according to previous reports. Iran has largely avoided directly attacking the UAE in recent weeks, though it did strike 2 Emirati tankers at sea during the month of July. According to the Wall Street Journal, these coordinated attacks signaled a clear rise in Arab military cooperation aimed directly against Iran. Iran has increasingly focused its retaliatory strikes on Bahrain and Kuwait specifically over these past several weeks of escalating conflict. Both of these Gulf states host significant American military bases and grew increasingly fearful of allowing Tehran to strike them again without any consequence. The Wall Street Journal reported that Arab governments have absorbed much of Iran's retaliatory fire so far and now genuinely fear being locked into a prolonged standoff. Experts note that both Oman and Qatar continue to show very little appetite for any direct military confrontation with Iran, preferring a far more cautious approach. Sources told the Wall Street Journal that while Saudi Arabia joined earlier rounds of strikes against Iran, it is now actively reassessing its overall position in this conflict. U.S. President Donald Trump claimed that a massive military strike against Iran could take place very soon if tensions continue to escalate. On the other hand, Iran's foreign minister strongly lashed out at Donald Trump, accusing Washington of fueling the conflict through continued military strikes.
You're talking about blowing up civilian power plants and bridges. Much of the civilized world would consider that a war crime. Do you?
I won't respond to that question. Who are you with?
The New York Times.
I figured so. Failing New York Times.
President Trump, Peter? About Iran, what is the exit strategy?
Well, I think there's a lot of them. There's a military exit where we just keep going just the way we are, and we can even make it a heavier dose, and it's knocking out everything they have. Or there's a smarter strategy, and that's you make a deal, and they want to make a deal. I just don't think they're ready yet, but they do want to make a deal. Sometimes they don't want to say they want to make a deal. They want to be the tough guys, but they do want to make a deal. There's two ways. I mean, it's you can just keep doing exactly what we're doing and take them apart piece by piece. We can do it in a more rapid fashion, which we might do, or we can negotiate with them, which we're also doing right now. I mean, as we speak, we're talking to them.
And you said today that Russia and China are not helping. Earlier this week, the War Secretary Hegseth said that they are enabling. So what is the difference?
Well, I don't know that they're enabling. I mean, I will tell you that President Xi said he will not partake, and President Putin said the same thing. I think, I trust them. They've had a long-term relationship. There could be some things they do, but thus far, at least, it has not been major. I don't think they'd want to have me disappointed.
Follow up on Iran. Have you made a decision about the major strikes that you were referring to? Okay. Should we expect to see major strikes?
Look, we're talking to them right now. I think they're getting more and more serious as the days go by, for maybe the obvious reason. But we are talking to them right now. Look, there are two ways. I consider that the smarter way, but the other is probably the easier way, doing what we're doing. And we can take that to a much higher level if we want to. We're prepared to do that, as you know. We're locked and loaded. We're locked and loaded and ready to go, but we're talking to them. So I think while we're talking, we'll see what comes of it.
And we can say, just
I believe, Jeff, they're very serious. Okay. They should be.
And when you say that you're talking, is it Mr. Kushner or Mr. Witkoff, or who's involved in those talks?
Sort of everybody. JD and Marco and a lot of people are talking. A lot of people to talk to. It's a big deal. But really, when you get right down to it, it's not very complex. They cannot have a nuclear weapon. Very, very simple actually, but it's a big deal. They cannot have a nuclear weapon. If they have even a thought of a nuclear weapon, we will just continue to go at much higher levels. But we are talking right now, and we'll see what comes of it. I'm not, despite what everyone says about the election, I'm not in a hurry. I'm not in a hurry. We have to do it right. Elections take care of themselves. When I went into Venezuela, everybody was against it. Oh, what are you doing going into Venezuela? They sort of have to make a deal. But we are talking to them. I think they're being serious. I think they are being by far the most serious that we've seen them. But that doesn't mean we get there. We'll see what happens. But I always prefer that alternative.
Mr. President, you told Axios that you were considering a, quote, massive attack on Iran. What is the tipping point for you to make the decision?
I can tell you that right now we're talking to them, so maybe there won't be a tipping point, and maybe there will. And we're ready to go. Look, we're locked and loaded. We're ready to go, but we're talking to them, so maybe there will be, maybe there won't be a tipping point.
But at what point with Iran do you think they're going to cry uncle and actually come to the table?
Well, maybe they will cry uncle, or maybe they'll just give up, or maybe they'll just go into a cave and hide. They have caves very deep in the ground, and they can hide. They get shaken up pretty good, but they can hide. But we've taken out their first level of leadership. We've then taken out their second level of leadership. We've taken out some of the third level, and we're negotiating with the rest. And we'll see how it all works. And right now we are talking to them seriously, but I've talked to them before, and they don't seem to be able to get there. Maybe now they will.
In recent months, the Islamic Republic of Iran has once again been subjected to direct military aggression by the United States and the Zionist regime. Following the attacks of June 2025, the world once again witnessed repeated military assaults on Iran during the months from February to April 2026, acts that targeted not only the security of our nation, but also the credibility of the entire international legal order. On February 28, 2026, the Iranian people lived through one of the bitterest and most painful days in their history. On that day, the leader of the Islamic Revolution, as the highest political and religious authority in the Islamic Republic of Iran, was martyred along with members of his family while in his office. At the same time, a school in the city of Minab was attacked, and 168 students,
members of the educational staff, and members of their families were killed in a criminal act. When attacks on educational centers, medical facilities, vital infrastructure, economic installations, and even peaceful nuclear facilities under the supervision of the International Atomic Energy Agency pass, without an effective response from the international community, no country will be confident that it will not become the next victim of such behavior. Even more troubling is that these attacks took place at a time when the Islamic Republic of Iran had chosen the path of diplomacy and dialogue, and negotiations were underway to resolve differences. The response to diplomacy was not through negotiation, but through a military attack. Such behavior undermines confidence in diplomacy, calls into question the credibility of mechanisms for the peaceful settlement of disputes, and carries a dangerous message for the future of international relations. Ladies and gentlemen, what the Islamic Republic of Iran has faced was not merely a threat to the national security of one state, but a challenge to the fundamental principles on which the international legal order is based. Therefore, defending these principles is not merely a defense of the Islamic Republic of Iran, but a defense of collective security, regional stability, and the credibility of international law. If the principle prohibiting the use of force is weakened and military aggression becomes normalized in international relations, no state, regardless of its size, strength, or geographic location, will be immune from the consequences. Peace must be built, maintained, and preserved. Excellencies, although only a few weeks have passed since the signing of the Islamabad Memorandum of Understanding to end the war, the United States has once again shown that it does not abide by its commitments.